Well, hello everybody. I'm Sam Beckinsale, filmmaker, actress, and general advocate and whatever. And here is my lovely US counterpart, Kat, Guardian's War Cry and The War at Home, If Only Someone Knew, on Facebook. So, Kat, today, football. So I don't know if you're watching the football, the World Cup, and all of these extraordinary things that are happening. Do you watch it in the US?
Yeah, we have what you call football, soccer in the U.S. We have the NFL, which is our football, and
You see, in your football is like our rugby.
yes,
So,
yes, but we also have rugby. So
yes. But yeah, we've got the England USA match coming up, and it led me to think today. I don't know so if you've got anything happening in the US around the rise, it's in all sports, but particularly football, the known rise that will happen to the point where the police will actually draft in extra officers in domestic abuse. And if it's that predictable to the point where you can, actually sort the rotors and get more people in, it's preventable as well. But we've got some quite interesting things happening with the Football Association and White Ribbon, which is a global organisation, and Women's Aid in raising awareness of that this is what happens. And I just wondered if you had the same sort of thing over there.
yeah, I mean, we have football coming up to playoffs. It'll start ramping up. One of the highest days in the United States is the Super Bowl for domestic violence at home. If somebody's team loses, then it tends to go up because they're unhappy. Used to have a job with a man who would come into work when I was young and be angry because his team lost and take it out on his workers at the store that I worked at. His wife said to me one day, I said something to her about him being grumpy and why is he coming down here on a Sunday? And she said, well, his team lost is probably why he's grumpy. And if he's acting grumpy towards you, just tell him to ask him if his team lost. And if he says yes, tell him I said to knock it off. I don't think that a lot of women would have that ability to be able to say knock it off because it would probably start a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Women's Aid have done this really powerful film that's going to be on billboards and in the advert breaks and stuff. So in England, we've got there was a record. It's coming home. Football's coming home back to England after we still live in the glories of 1966, and they've changed it to He's Coming Home, and it's a really good little short that's about that trepidation of what's going to happen. And there's lots of questions being asked about, because obviously football does not cause domestic abuse like any more than anything else causes domestic abuse in that sense,
right?
But it's the question is, why is that quite a particular exacerbating element?
I think for here in the States, it's people having the ability to express themselves through something they're watching that's acceptable for them. Like if their team won, then, it's kind of like the whole corporate thing. They're in a position of power. My team beat your team. We have you'll have pools at work where people will donate their money. Men will donate their money. And if their team won, or if their numbers are correct, like the goals that were made that week, if their numbers are correct and they win the big pool, it's all about competition and it's all about winning. It's you put on your T-shirt or your jersey for your team. You walk around proud with it.
And I suppose the other thing is you belong, isn't there? There's a unification.
Right.
There's almost that kind of gang tribal thing, you're in my gang. But actually, one of the main things that came to mind just when you were talking was I saw it in one of the newspapers today, but obviously it was quite famous in the Italian 90 is it's actually the one time, the most obvious time I can think of, where men are actually allowed to cry, and really publicly, you know, and it be acceptable. Yeah, there was a chap. There's a really big photo in the of this chap absolutely sobbing his socks off because his team had been kicked out. I'm not even sure there's any other sport where crying like that is totally understood and accepted. So maybe that's a part of it as well.
I can't think of anything either.
It literally just came to me. I just thought I can't think of any other situation.
I'm at a loss for words.
Do you know that really doesn't happen? That doesn't happen very often, Kat, does it?
Right.
So I've flummoxed you. I've managed.
You have. I've been in a movie, not in a movie like you, but in that I'm not an actress. But I've been
fantastic in the movies.
I've been at the movies and had someone and been somewhere where it's a sensitive movie and cried and had a male relative tell me.
So a male relative, you were crying in a film, and a male relative said to you,
"Oh, mad, because it's like people are going to think I was mean to you in the movie." It's like the movie was sad. This is the perception of what is problematic. You can't even cry at a movie and somebody's upset. That the perception is being thought of that they did something wrong to you, so you're upset, or their team loses and you're late in making dinner, and then all of a sudden it's a dinner problem because it's not being expressed as to what's really bothering them.
Well, I think this could lead into a much deeper conversation that we can have going forwards around not only how our boys are brought up, and not everybody has to, express copious amounts of emotion all of the time. We'd be a proper snot fest all the time.
Right.
But how to communicate emotion healthily, and maybe that's what we've been missing.
Well,
for the last, even especially with the advent of the internet and things like that. But it's because it's not just about boys; it's about girls as well, and how our children are taught about what they can and can't do around emotion and what's expected of them. Maybe we need to start looking at that a little bit.
Well, and think about emotional regulation. Yes. It's kind of a new thing that they're talking about, right? I mean, back in the day, what women got slapped for hysteria because they were being hysterical, and because thrown
they were just in voicing an opinion.
Right, but they were thrown in mental institutions because they couldn't be controlled. And we've come so far now, and I think we have to go farther in, not dragging something from just an emotion of your team losing, which is devastating, okay, because you put so much time into this and so much effort, they feel, and now they've lost. And having some, empathy for that, but it's not expressed in that way in domestic violence. It's expressed in a physical way.
Well, they take out their emotion. They take out whatever the emotion it is they're feeling, or they just use it as an excuse. It's literally just an
Correct.
Excuse,
Correct.
And has nothing to do with that. There isn't any link other than it's an excuse. Oh my! Well, I lost my temper because my team lost, and we as a society then sort of like go, oh, okay, I understand that. Well, actually, no, that should not be acceptable to us as a society, that is an okay reason to abuse another human being or pet or your child or whatever. That's just not, and that is down to us as a society, I think, to start actually looking at what we allow to be acceptable in the name of having a good time or belonging or community together. You know, maybe they just shouldn't be acceptable in my book, any more than the dinner is late or you've washed the floor wrong or whatever, all the other excuses that are used that are actually not the reason why people abuse. The reason
Right.
people abuse
Right.
is because they want to. That's the you know. But we're tolerating it somehow in our society. We are forgiving it because they can just say, "Well, my team lost."
Well, yeah, but it goes deeper than that. In that, like over here, it's man up, don't be a pussy.
Mm-hmm.
You're being girly when somebody's just expressing an emotion that they have, or as a woman, or even as a man, you'll hear, "Oh, you're being too sensitive. And thicken up that skin a little bit, and don't be emotional." In fact, I heard a good Facebook thing about that, where this man, in a really soft tone, said, "The next time your husband says to you, or your husband's upset, ask him, why is he so emotional? Because when people are upset, or don't be so emotional. That's what it is. Don't be so emotional." And I don't know where to go with that, but it was funny.
Well, it's almost like a backhander in that that's the one thing that they don't want to be called as emotional. So therefore they will stop with the bad behavior because you're saying it's emotional. Mark Green, his name is, isn't it? Remaking Manhood. And we'll explore him later in the longer podcast, but about, it's a double whammy in that it's controlling, interestingly, controlling our young boys and men and denigrating women at the same time. There's this sort of symbiotic nature that we as a society are imposing on our young. Like you say, don't be a sissy, don't be girly. What's wrong with being girly? Actually.
Right. Don't throw like a girl.
Yeah. So
don't run like a girl.
Yeah, all of those things. And at the same time, we're putting down our butts, telling them to, button it up and not show emotion. So it's no wonder that we end in these situations, really, when we think about it. I'm as you know, a great believer in us as a society starting to really take some responsibilities for some of the things we don't even know we're saying.
You look at it in the rape culture, or in rape, and it's like, we had a guy here that raped a girl. It was brought up that he was a gold medalist swimmer. Yeah, so what? He still raped a girl.
Yeah, so he's a better class of rapist then, is what they're saying. So therefore, he shouldn't be punished as much as somebody who has less talent in another area. I mean, where is the sense in that? And this is the thing as well, is that somehow, and I'm not sure how it's happened, but I've got friends who are teachers in schools, and a boy shouting out to a girl, "Oh, I'm going to rape you later," is becoming really normalized, or it is normalized just as a way of communicating. And when did that become a way for young teenage, sometimes as young as 11, to communicate to each other and think that that's okay? Not even sure that they even know what the word means that they're using, but it's becoming normalized, and that is
right.
That's deeply concerning. But that, again, it's about the collective. And what kind of world do we want, and what kind of world do we want for our children? And it's certainly not one where, as long as you're an Olympic swimmer or you're a business owner, or you're good looking or deemed to be or whatever, that somehow that excuses rape or any other kind of abuse. It doesn't.
Well, I think, I mean, we're going to have more talks on different kinds of subjects. I think, communication, compassion for one another, and how does that drive a society? And we've kind of lost some grounds in not having compassion towards somebody who's been raped, when we just scoff it off to, I'm going to rape that girl. So, we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
So we're going to wind it up for right now. Bye, sweetie.
Bye-bye, my darling. See you soon.
Hello. Thank you for watching our channel today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for any new content, and find us on Patreon and your favorite podcasts. We hope we're one of them. Bye-bye.